cái mà dân đấy mình là chịu chắc à. Cái này cốc cái ta miên ngày chành. Nhưng mình cách cứ khuyên ngày chành mà mình ai. Miên là ngày Islam, cái ta miên là ngày Islam.
There was a poem that was written on the walls of the brothel, and it was a Vietnamese poem. It said, "We put on our makeup and we say we are pretty, but it is a lie. Men come in and they see us and they tell us we are pretty, but it is a lie. We are nothing, we are worthless, our life means nothing. There is no hope for us." Mien grew up in a family where her father was an alcoholic. He would take the money her mother earned and lose it gambling and drinking. Then the baby, her siblings would cry because they had no food, and he would beat the children and his wife. In her own words is, "I couldn't stand for my mother to cry anymore, and there was nothing else I had, so I sold myself into a brothel." And she sold herself into a brothel in Svay Pak at the age of 14. They locked her in a room, and she waited, because she was a virgin, for a foreign man who would pay a lot of money to be with her. After just a few days, she was brutally raped, and that began her life in the brothel.
ទៅភ័យខ្លាចដែរដូចយើងមិនដែរថាដេកមួយប្រុសយើងមិនភ័យខ្លាចដូចធម្មតាថាជើងមកភ្លេងពេលតែដេកមួយគេ
So, as child sex slavery grew in Cambodia, it became available in the major tourist areas. So in order for Svay Pak to stay in business, they started to cater to the extreme fringes of sexual perversion, so offering the very young girls and allowing people to exercise kind of strange fetishes like torture and all sorts of weird stuff that most normal people would never even think about or hear of. And here we go, just turning off into a dirt road, and here we are in Svay Pak.
There were organizations coming in here doing great work. They were shutting down brothels and prosecuting pedophiles, and it was stopping centralized trafficking in Svay Pak. But the next phase is stopping decentralized trafficking.
Little girls are still for sale here, but there's no more brothels. It pushed it to the fringes to where when people come, he goes, he sits at a coffee shop, the pimp approaches him, he says what he wants, they go get the girl. So police have a hard time tracking that and really building a case against something like that. Sister, hello. How you doing? How you doing? Good. So what you doing here? So what you gonna do when you're done with your coffee? What you gonna do when you're done with your coffee? I think you do understand. Not many people come to Svay Pak for coffee. Obviously, he's not going to admit to being a foreign pedophile, but there's no reason to be in Svay Pak other than that. If he doesn't leave now, the reality is he will rape a child tonight, which is just crazy. So I just want to wait until he leaves. Anti-trafficking program recording?
No, everything you don't need to tell me.
No, I think I do need to tell you, and I am going to tell you. This is what I do, okay? When you're finished with your coffee, you're going to have to leave. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We don't confront pedophiles anymore because we found that they basically just go down the street to find someone else that will offer them a girl. So it doesn't solve the problem.
There are many countries in the world that suffer from abject poverty, and there are a number of countries who have suffered a genocide. But there's things about Cambodia that make it unique. In most countries, it's an ethnic group against an ethnic group. In Cambodia, the genocide was actually imposed upon itself by all the people of Cambodia. When Pol Pot took over with the Khmer Rouge, he vacated the urban areas, sent everyone out to the rice fields, and he determined that he would need to execute the educated people. Still, of course, rice didn't grow any better when the educated were gone, and so he went after the religious. And then finally what he did is he separated first husband from wife and then the children from their families completely. In the end, the children were used to torture and execute their own families. Those children are today the parents. So they're living in abject poverty, they're uneducated, without a moral compass, and no family background to call upon. And it results in the trafficking of little girls. And I believe that this country is the worst place in the world for that specific type of human trafficking.
There are over 100 brothels on the street, and every year the anti-trafficking police, they come down here and raid brothels. And on this street there was an article that said $1.25 for a normal girl, $2.25 for a beautiful girl, young girl.
It's highly complex, and that in turn shows us that our response to the issue of human trafficking here also needs to be really diverse and really complex.
How do we take a man who has been trafficking his own daughter, raping his own daughters, and convince him with mere logic that he should stop? It takes more than that.
It is not just sexual abuse. For the majority of the children in our care, it is sexual abuse that's been combined with torture, with bondage.
You can't just go find girls and just take them out. And so you have to work through a very trustworthy series of steps.
In 2003, IJM successfully advocated with authorities to do a large intervention in Svay Pak. And there were 40 girls who were rescued out of that community, and many considered that to be the shutting down of Svay Pak. But we were aware, especially being on the ground here, that really the story had not ended.
Mien was in this brothel in Svay Pak the day that IJM made a raid. She hid, feeling that she was going to get in trouble with the police, and one of the pimps found her and took her to another brothel.
Some people will say, oh, when the girl are you, they have good life or new life, new hope, but it's not. It's just their beginning or starting a new life. So aftercare is their journey. So if there is no aftercare, the girls still stay in the same situation. So it's no use to rescue them. It's no use at all.
What we're talking about is healing a child that's been through unbelievable abuse. How do we do that? Girls were being actually put in jail along with the perpetrators. There was no place for them to go. So in 2005, we moved to Cambodia to found ARC, and we began the process to care solely for the trafficked and abused girls.
At our restoration center, we have 57 girls, and the average age is between 8 and 12, 13. Some of our girls have been trafficked for as long as 6 years, so they come in requiring a lot of therapy, a lot of love, a lot of needs. Her abuse started when she was about 4. She lived with a family who didn't care about her. She was a source of income. They would sell her, or her own family would rape her. They would throw their scraps on the floor and the dogs would go after it, and she would have to fight among the dogs. The first day she was there, I watched her, and she had her arms out like protecting her food, and she was just glancing around, and she would just be shoving the food in her mouth so quick, and it'd be on her face and in her hair, and she'd be looking around to make sure nobody was trying to get it. It just horrified me to see this gorgeous little girl that nobody cared for. I know if it was me, I'd be wondering if somebody was out there who would help me.
On ọt trong thuê pe on đang kê thuê đã on trong tai pe năng dây on chui thôn hay ọt miền lơi trong on bậc không chật năng thuê
cà phê nhưng mà bị luộc vẫn còn thuê bán luôn chẳng phải chỉ chụpแต่บางมันขายบางchụp bán 2 ปีแบบตึ๊ดខ្ញុំមានរំភើយពួកម៉ាក់ពវល់ធ្វើអាការទៅខ្ញុំក៏នៅក្មេងគិតខ្លីគេថានឹងបំផ្លាញប៉ាម៉ាក់ខ្ញុំអត់ចង់ឲ្យគាត់អត់ខ្ញុំបាច់ខ្ញុំខឹងនឹងប៉ាម៉ាក់ខ្ញុំទៅខ្ញុំចង់បំផ្លាញជីវិតខ្លួនឯង ជួនខ្លះគេមិនល្អគេចាំបង្ខំយើងមានអារម្មណ៍បីដូចជាមនុស្សស្លាប់
To face every day, to face days, weeks, and months with that in your heart. I think for most of us, it's beyond our imagination where they've been. We spent 1 full year training staff before we took a single girl because the need was so great, but we recognized without a trained staff, without a staff that was equipped, there was no way we were going to meet the needs of these kids. When the first girls came, they were ready.
Individuals are really as strong as the communities who support them, especially when we're talking about children, and building up strong communities that are protecting the members within their community is critical to be able to see any long-term and sustainable change.
It didn't take us long to realize that aftercare alone wasn't the answer. And we realized that we needed to be part of the prevention end of it. And that's how we ended up founding Rahab's House in Svay Pak.
Ironically, one of the properties that was available was an ex-brothel. In order for us to actually use this brothel, we had to tear down these walls.
You would come in and there was not any of the fans or lights. And what there was 18 rooms, 18 little rooms. And you can even see here the dividers for the rooms where the walls were at one time. Every room in the place was a horrible place. But the worst room was upstairs. It's where they would take the virgins. It was the pink room.
The only Westerners that had been in Svay Pak were undercover cops, people kicking in their doors, shutting down brothels. So when we came in there was this assumption that we were there to do the same.
Many people, they are not happy with us. When we talk to them, they are not talk to us. When we smile to them, they are not smile to us. they sing or these people come to kill them business.
You know, the first time we moved here, we have no friend, we have no people to, I mean that we look like a stranger in the community.
So the first day we show up with our volunteers, and by the way, you should know that our volunteers were girls from ARC, girls who had been through the program and came down to Svay Pak to volunteer to work with these kids. And so we showed up in that first kids club, about 30 kids showed up.
Probably in the last 5 years, the focus point was much more lockdown type brothels that had sex on the premises. It was easy to go in there, say, okay, this man has been caught with this girl in this bed, so we know that we can prosecute them. About 70% of them now do not have sex on the premises because they're just karaoke bars, and the girls will get taken by the men off premises. There are large numbers of girls, even 200, 300 in these places, which then just is a shift in strategy of how do you address an issue like that and effectively both investigate and intervene in situations like that.
We're going to be going to 2 karaoke clubs and 1 hotel. Our goal here is to play the part of a pedophile, and you're trying to gather useful information: who sold them, how much they sold them for, what province they came from. Tomorrow we have a meeting with IJM and some anti-trafficking police, and so if they deem the information compelling enough, they'll act on it.
What will you guys do with this information when you get it?
Hello. Sure today. Hello. Sure today. Sure today. Hello. 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 Sure today.
If you like the girl, you can choose the girlfriend in the room.
If we like those girls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you choose.
We choose.
Yeah.
The whole core reason of like why you're there is just to get her out of there, and she's just cuddling up against you, and it's just your mind's just like on the brink of just like breaking down. You wanting to cry, breaking down, and you just wanting to kick somebody's head in and just get her out of there. Even being next to her, I knew she was just terrified, you know, like just the way she freaking touched me and everything. It just felt, you know, she's reaching for my hand, you know, doing everything she was taught to do, but you could tell she was just scared out of her mind. It was a trip, man. Whether they go in and bust it or not, hopefully there's enough information to get the girls out. You know, it's almost bad that you make personal connection, because then it just hurts you more when nothing happens. It's almost better to be conceptual about the whole thing of just saying like, oh, human trafficking is happening, these girls are happening. And you freaking just like, you're just with the girl for a while. Just messed up.
You need a girl, right? And maybe 12 or 11, 10.
There was a whole lot of girls that were on the street there. Those were perfect. And there was a room there, and there was 3 girls, and there were like 6, 8, and 10.
Before you ever come here?
Yeah, all the time.
How much you spend for?
Well, it used to be $5, then it went to $30 in 1995.
Do you have some friends at Phnom Penh?
Well, yeah, I have some friends, but they're going for like 16-year-old girls. Pretty young girl, I will have sex right now.
There's so many people in Cambodia that have no idea what's going on. They think that there's sex going on, but they don't understand about the torture, the severe abuse that these girls go through.
Tôi xảy nâng hai ban mà nâng bạn tập khai đôi thưa cá trai cho lôi cô này trai chẳng á nói chung ca tam nhiều cho ban trần tới chung ca ở tịch tới
cha nó ban bài mà
ban xăm sắp ấy tới tịch đa quyền thấy gì
mình chán trên ca tha không mà ngay trên ban mà
ngay 27 nè nè đôi tam thưa ca nó việc là chẳng ai đâu cái sập bom tiền hay là
Mien reached an age where she wasn't behind a locked door anymore because she wasn't that valuable and she couldn't earn that much money. And for the next 6 years, she spent in brothels. There she was, this hopeless young woman of 20 years old at that time. And IJM makes another raid at the brothel she's at. And this time she's rescued and she's asked if she wants to come to an aftercare center. And she says yes, and she arrives at ARC. Somehow in the West, we lose the factor with because she's 20 years old. She's not 12 or 8 or 5 years old like the girl we just took in last week. But boy, she's just as precious.
The first time she come, she looked so sad and quiet girl, not so friendly, talking a lot.
She very big, and even her hair is not good. Also, very frightened.
On the first night that the girls arrive at the center, we have a princess ceremony. They're called up one by one and everybody claps and cheers, and they have a little crown that they put on their head, and they give them their picture, and then they give them their gifts. They just welcome them. And it goes one by one and everybody cheers, and then afterwards they have dinner and a little party of dancing and cake and ice cream and soda. When the new ones come in, there's so many girls applauding. The noise is just so loud, and they're kind of bewildered and overwhelmed. They're like, what is this? But then when they get the crown on and, you know, they see the picture of themselves, a poster, and, you know, they're just like, wow. You know, they've heard before, you know, from their customers, their guests, you know, I love you. And so they're like, yeah, I've heard that before. But they are full of hope and promise with a great future. And anything they want to do, they can do it. And we're going to help them achieve that goal. They start believing it, and then they know it's true. It's really
just an honor to be a part of, to see. Việc khó khăn đôi nơi xí ban được nhằm lọ cặp giang cùng o hay dương ban chết đơn hay chơi so chơi nhìn ấy hay dương ban đôi trả dương ban cột cha tông được chỉ muốn nó đôi người ta bò nó cây mình đại dương rồi mình chọn nghe mình là dương thực không mình là cái đây dương hai dương là khọ hay được tôi giúp miền tục nhiều tôi ở kia 2 năm khó khăn chờ nó cái chui cục giang được ói than gì trong ta chui cục giang được ói.
A lot of kids get sold by their parents because of financial needs, you know, medical costs, food costs. So 2 ways of combating that is offering medical care. Thursdays we offer medical care. And we do food relief. We just gave out 2 tons of rice last month. We offer educational programs so that these kids have an option. We have a children's community program as well. Kids learn songs, they learn about trafficking, they learn about families.
They cut the nail and they wash the hand, and tomorrow they will clean the room. We try to show people that the kid is very important, that we want to take care of them. Every day, people in this community, they come and to meet us and they ask us for help. I mean that every hour they come and they ask, like children to go to school, or they have a sick or disease, or they need to go to the hospital. And we spend time with community. They can come and they ask me anytime. I told them we are here for you.
The boys are just as vulnerable as the girls in Svay Pak. But instead of being sold, they're being groomed to be traffickers. So we started the gym because we realized unless we intervened, there was a course of life already planned out for them. We had one guy, he was making $2,000 for every trip he made into Vietnam to trick girls and to traffic them back into Cambodia. Through the gym and through the influence of the gym, he's really changed his heart and his mind. And now, instead of trafficking girls and making $2,000, now he makes $50 a month working construction. And he chose to do that. You know, we can meet all the needs in the community and take away all the pressures on a family, you know, whether that's medical or food or paying for the kid to go to school. And sometimes that family will still traffic their kids because at the core, it is a moral issue. We're not talking about a shift in culture or changing culture. We're talking about changing values. If a mother looks in her child's eyes and sees value, she will not traffic that child.
separate the two places when we talk to IJM.
So we tell them the first place, 30 girls under 18.
Okay.
Girls under 16, conservative 10?
10, yeah.
Okay. There was 2 stray mouths, so let me do the first.
Okay, so...
the girl you were stray mouth, second place?
Yeah, second place, stray mouth.
She's from Kampot?
Yeah, Kampot.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 years old.
Okay.
Needed money because her take care of her mother.
Yeah.
It's crucial that we document everything we've seen, everything we've heard, in order for organizations like IJM to put a complete report together in order to get judges to issue warrants to go back in to rescue the girls. Okay. And see, you can see where we were at. The room was $10, $4.20 for a beer. Girl, $5.
So the girl was as much as a bunch of grapes.
It's just hard to imagine that you'd get a receipt.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see that, you understand the depth of the trauma. But you understand that you can't understand it.
Yeah.
Maybe a better way to say it, I mean, how many times a night? They're open to 3 or 4 in the morning.
But it's not even just the sexual trauma, it's the whole process is so objectifying. Just the guy comes in, pick them, and then they have to stand up, they gotta smile, they gotta do the whole thing. And I mean, even that process has gotta be so deeply traumatizing to their self-image, to what they think of themselves. Just, they're cattle at that point.
Really, the emotional trauma that they suffered with us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, with us, through what is he going to do? What does he want from me?
Yeah.
What am I going to have to do? And then when it's over with us, it's great.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to do anything, they weren't forced. But through that whole process, that hour and 10 minutes or something they spent with us, what were they thinking emotionally as they did all that stuff? And how deeply are you traumatized by that? And in most cases, it doesn't end like it ended with us. It's ending up in some room.
If the operation was successful, that's you're talking potentially 100 girls. If you could only get the girls out that we made a connection with, I would still feel better. But just the idea of just interacting with those girls, seeing their life, seeing their faces, being so close to them, and just thinking they might not get out, man, that's too much.
Chùm rịp xưa Sực sờ bài chưa chế? Bà sực sờ bài. Come on. The healing for the girls takes place in a unique way. We use trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, this therapy is recognized as the very best way for girls to recover from the kind of trauma that we're talking about. It's based on a cognitive triangle, which says what we think determines what we feel, determines how we act. An example would be this: I think I am trash because of what a man did to me. I feel hopeless, and a result for that, it's no use for me to study because I'm just a piece of trash. Imagine this: you're in a room with 100 other girls, and some foreigners come in, and you stand up and smile. They're going to pick a girl. There's part of them that's disappointed. If you don't pick them, why am I no good? There's the other side saying, oh God, please don't pick me because I know what he's going to do to me. And then there's the other side of it: if he doesn't choose me, I can't get any money for my family. And some of these girls have things that are even beyond that. Some of the girls were forced to help a pedophile rape another girl in a brothel, to hold her down while she screamed. And now they carry the guilt of that on top of everything else. And it's just again, it's beyond our imagination what these girls have suffered, and it's not a quick fix. You can't bring a kid in here and say, well, in 2 months we'll put them through a therapy program, we'll get them functionally literate and put them on the street. It's just not going to happen. They have so much to overcome. If we can get back to her and show her that she does have value, it doesn't matter what happens to her. Her value isn't based on what someone has done to her, but who she is. You see, when they leave the therapy session, they will have heard the words that they're valuable, that they're special, and they were made for a special purpose. Then they experience it through the caregiving staff. That's where the transformation takes place.
I'm very compassionate with them. And then I start to spend time with them by teaching. And I know I spend a lot of time with girls in the evening. Some of the girls go to library so they can be not just a teacher and student. Sometimes they can be a friend.
Now, one thing that I left out of Mien's story is that she used to volunteer at Rahab's house, working with the kids. But the thing for Mien, when the first day she went back, when our van pulled up in front of that place, it was the brothel she was sold into. And she talks about how she was afraid to get out of the van because she knew what an evil place it was. She says when she got out, she saw, oh, it's changed. It's not what it was before. And I go there, I feel like staff of ARC because I work with the kids and I tell them, choose a good way. Do not choose the way I chose. And to see her hold and love those little girls and teach them, and the joy she gets from that is amazing.
Ở nơi ra cái lại Svay Pak nữa, ban lọ ban chợ nữa.
What does she want to do with her future?
Nơi riêng.
She decided she wanted to become a tailor. And she talked about her dream. And she said, my dream is to open a tailor shop, not a big one, but a small one by my mom's house. So I can be with her and I can help support her so she and my brother will have enough money to live.
I remember sitting in the dining hall eating lunch one day, and I looked across and I saw her smiling, and I said to Dad, I said, is that Mien? I said, she's smiling. I mean, she's gorgeous. Look at her. And it was just such a transformation, what a smile does. She flourished so quickly. It just restored her dignity.
So IJM took our information, their information to the anti-trafficking police, and so the anti-trafficking police said the one location, the hotel, the first location we're at, which had about 40 girls in it, they're potentially going to be able to do an operation. So I think operation may happen tonight, may happen tomorrow night, depends on. But I've been losing sleep.
One of the greatest difficulties for any of us involved in stopping trafficking is that although great effort will be put into an attempt to rescue a child or stop a trafficker, failure is part of what we have to deal with.
I decided to move to live in Svay Pak. Before I don't want to work here, but when I come to see about the people that come to hurt the children, my heart is broken. I want to restore hope for children.
You got all sorts of hardships, mental hardships, physical hardships, emotional hardships from this job. But to be honest, I'm the luckiest guy alive, for reals. Like all the hardship, everything. You don't have to pay me $1. Like I'm a lucky guy.
This is very hard work. We cannot give them money to change Svay Pak, but we come here and we start to do like Jesus do, you know. Yeah, so they trust me and they start to change. They start to change themselves. I cannot change, but they start to change.
A person may question, why do we open Rahab's house? Because if you would look at it, Svay Pak has had lots of economic development. There are educational opportunities. There are great laws on the book to protect kids. But what is lacking in Svay Pak is a moral compass. Hearts needed to be transformed. People who were committing the crimes had to look at them and say, that's just not right. We were able to take a former brothel. We had to tear down walls. We had to remodel the place, but being able to take a place where children were abused and become a place of hope instead of hopelessness, to become a place of healing and instead of destroying life. Words can't express the feeling that comes with being a part of something like that.
They're looking at a community that for so long has been defined by its worst level of exploitation that's happened and beginning to say, actually, there's more. And we know that the story is not finished.
Làm chỉ cần phân lư bom lư mới nô lô đòi phải đòi âm nát rung
đòi cùng lặng
cùng lặng ấy
trong
phải ai nè
lên
mình đốt đo nơi chùm này vì chia xong rạp nhúng cái bị muốn nhưng mà con cha ấy ta là như mẹ làm thắc luôn ai phát đôi chán hay là chui nhưng luôn lo rằng ở vì muốn nhưng tôi hay ở lợi nhưng lần thoát rằng mẹ làm thắc phát đôi hay vừa dân ở cật bì rương nâng tiệt nhưng anh bỏ bóng trao nhưng sang chỉ vật mây là hay giờ anh muốn lấy trao nhưng kịch thà nhưng riêng nhưng chụp niên vậy mua này nhưng trong tà ná cột.
Mien is a young woman who has suffered just so greatly, but she's doing great in school. She'll be graduating soon. We'll be providing a loan for her to buy her sewing machines, and maybe the best part of the story for me is my shirt, because Mien made it for me. I can't say more right now, sorry.
You're just sad to see them go, you know, like your own children. You don't want them to leave, but at the same time, you're thrilled. You're thrilled that they finally have this wonderful life that they never thought that they'd have.
Đây lạnh gần cả ai á, lạnh hơi ta trong tiền mà ở miền Akka tiền ban này, và về nên mà được cái đó ở ban tiền này, ở đây có ở những tiền chừng á là có những một chừng á ở miền Đông là có ở ban chặt ngày đài, ở ngay trăm ngày nó than toàn ban chui ấy, rồi chui ở ban tiền ở là có.
When you're feeling down, when you're feeling sad, when you feel like all you lost was all you had, lift up your head, listen to that sound. You're only lost so that you can be found. And when you feel weak and you cannot sleep, just let this song inside and let it sing. You're not in control, so just let stuff go. You're worth much more than blood, you are a soul. Hallelujah, 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 you're not alone. Hallelujah, 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 this is not your home. But when you feel afraid, when you feel distressed, just hear this song and give your heart a rest. And hold each other and be a friend, 'cause there'll be light for all when the battle ends. Hallelujah, 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 you're not